What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about X-Force number 29 by Benjamin Percy and Robert Gill. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down why Cerebralx needs Kid Omega.
You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
One of the things that I talked about in the previous issue has happened. The idea of Cerebralx getting his hands, or rather tentacles, on Black Tom Cassidy, a mutant with the ability to communicate and even merge and meld with vegetation and plant life. He's able to control KRAKOA in ways that I think no other mutant has really shown an ability to do, and now we have finally seen it happen. Black Tom Cassidy has been killed by Cerebralx, his brain consumed by this aggressive and sentient version of Cerebro. It now has the ability to control KRAKOA itself. As we've learned in the previous issues, when he killed the mutant Forge, Cerebralx gained the ability to create machines and devices on the same level as Forge. We also saw that it gained the abilities of other mutants like Havoc and then later Polaris. Any mutant that Cerebralx consumes the mind of, Cerebralx gains those abilities, and right now, Cerebralx is turning KRAKOA itself against the mutants. And there's really only one way to stop him. All of X-Force is gonna have to come together and take Cerebralx head on. But where is Cerebralx going to stop? Right now, it seems like Cerebralx has everything that they need to take out KRAKOA and the mutants as a whole, but there's still one thing that Cerebralx doesn't have that it wants, and that's Kid Omega. Now, the question we need to be asking, well, why the hell would he want Kid Omega? Kid Omega is, for one, an Omega level telepath, as we've known for quite some time, but was even further cemented in Jonathan Hickman's House of X #1. And since that time frame, Kid Omega has only gotten better. He has elevated himself in ways that I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand. He has upped his game in terms of being able to read minds, even from on the other side of the planet, and he's also upped his game in terms of being able to create even more complex creations with his telepathy. He's always been able to create weapons and other mundane objects, but even here he's proven that he's gotten that much better. We've seen him make things like guns and rocket launchers and things of that nature in the past, and he's even started making more complex vehicles, and in this issue he creates a freaking tank. Not only that, he's been taking control of host bodies created by the Five. We've even seen one recently, which was a Juggernaut version of himself. And if you wanted any more proof that Quinquire has upped his game to tournament band god tier level, he uses his telekinesis to take the adamantium lace bones inside of Wolverine that Cerebralx had completely pretzeled, as Wolverine states earlier in this book. He uses his power to completely reset every single bone. We're talking about adamantium here, people. Quinquire is on a whole other level right now, and while I have always been one of the biggest haters of Quinquire, the character has elevated himself on both an emotional and maturity level that has made him a much more interesting character to me since he got inducted into the current iteration of X-Force. So why wouldn't Cerebralx want that? Quinn even tells us in this issue he's still not reached the highest of heights that he could reach. As we know, Omega level mutants, they have no upper limit, but Quentin believes that even as he is now, while he does believe he is an Omega level mutant, he doesn't think he's even so much as scratched the surface of what it is that he can potentially do, and Cerebralx recognizes that. So if we already see that Cerebralx is clapping cheeks left and right, taking out mutants left and right, mutants who are incredibly powerful on this island, stealing their powers and using them even better than they can, imagine what he would do with Kid Omega, especially now that he has KRAKOA under his control. What makes matters even worse is that he's gotten his hands on one of the Stepford Cuckoos, namely Phoebe. And while Phoebe and Quinquire are on the outs right now, Phoebe having broken up with Quentin to give more of her support and her attention to her fellow sisters as they take over their new position in the Hellfire Trading Company, Quentin comes running when he finds out that she's in danger, and this puts him directly in the warpath of Cerebralx. Now, of course, he's not alone. We know that the character Omega Red has finally stepped out of his shell. Apparently, the words that Sage said to him in the previous issue have galvanized him into wanting to try to be different. While he was technically trying before, all of that got undone when he found out that KRAKOA didn't trust him, that Xavier, Beast, all of them have basically been using him. And while yes, Dracula was using him as well, the mutants on KRAKOA using him hurt more because he truly felt that they were trying to give him another chance. And now that Sage has kind of talked it up, he's now starting to think that maybe, yeah, this is the time I'm going to step up and do something. I kind of feel like this is going to wind up making a very cool dynamic, as I've said in the past, knowing that Omega Red was joining the team, that yeah, with Wolverine here, Omega Red there, them in the same room with one another, it's going to create nothing but problems, but they're going to be fun problems. And not only that, Omega Red proves that he is willing to put himself on the line for KRAKOA to once again make it clear he's ready to change. And he throws himself into the battle against Cerebralx, knowing that Cerebralx could very likely kill him, even though that doesn't really matter. He could be resurrected, but still, the point of the matter is death still hurts. And he does. He throws himself into the line of fire using his carbonadium tentacles that are now being piggybacked, which is just a weird thing to say out loud, but they are being piggybacked right now by Sage, who is uploading a type of malware to take down Cerebralx. And while this does work, it's ultimately thanks to the help of Quinn Quire, who launches himself into Cerebralx. In between the combination of malware coming from Sage through Omega Red's tentacles and the telepathic onslaught that Quinn Quire is unleashing within Cerebralx, Cerebralx is destroyed, at least for now. But the real question is, where the hell is Quinn Quire? Right now, Kid Omega is doing his best Carmen Sandiego impersonation. He is gone. He's nowhere to be found. Phoebe's telepathy is not able to reach out to Quinn anywhere. He is completely gone. And what's to make matters worse, Quinn Quire's backups have been deleted. Now, we don't know where he is, where he could have potentially gone, what is going to happen with him, but something tells me maybe he's hiding out on the astral plane somewhere. That is a possibility considering everything that we learned from Trial of Magneto, where Wanda helped create the waiting room, a place for all other mutants, regardless of whether they've been backed up or not, to automatically go and wait to be resurrected. Only in the case of the waiting room, it's a place you have to voluntarily want to go. No one can actually put you there. It's a very interesting new concept that has basically leveled up KRAKOA even more than what it already was. Not only has Kid Omega's backups been removed, but one of the things that Sage says that I think is very alarming is that it was almost as if Kid Omega was never backed up in the first place. Is this one of those 10 lives, 10 deaths of Wolverine type shenanigans? Because as we know, Cerebralx technically was created out of the aftermath of that. Did the malware inside Cerebralx somehow force feedback Quinn Quire in time? The same way that Charles Xavier and Jean Grey were using their abilities to force feedback Wolverine into the past? Maybe something happened there, but whatever's going on here, I think Kid Omega's gonna be fine. He will be back, but I definitely think when he comes back, he's not going to be the same Quinn Quire that we've known since day one. He's already changed a great deal, and I do believe that when he comes back, he's gonna be, I would think, maybe even a better character than what he has been as of late. But anyways, that's everything I want to talk about with X-Force number 29. If you want to know more about the crazy stuff that Quinn Quire's been up to, I got a video up here where he goes up against a clone of himself that's pretty much the mutant version of Freddy Krueger. And if you want to know more about the 10 lives and 10 deaths of Wolverine event that I mentioned earlier, check out this video down here to find out all about that. In the meantime, let me know what you thought about X-Force number 29. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.